welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Well, viewers, we were speaking with the executive chairman of Spell, who treated in a large part the issue of the export license needed for Spell to operate and earn some massive revenue out of places like Guyana, even Suriname, and some more places around the region. However, Spell is not the only entity within Trinidad and Tobago that's experiencing problems in attaining their necessary export licenses. And the other entity is that of the Scrap Iron Dealers Association, specifically the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Scrap Iron Dealers Association, Mr. Alan Ferguson. Okay, sorry. We're not going to be joined by Mr. Alan Ferguson this morning, although that is an issue that we will have to treat it. We are being joined by Mr. Daren Dhoray, founder and director of CyberSafe Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, this morning we are speaking about kids' safety, cyber safety for the July-August vacation. Good morning and welcome to you, sir.
Hi, good morning, Kandace. Nice to be here once again.
All right, great. Now, of course, we know cyber safety is such a major thing as technology evolves and very rapidly so. There's always unscrupulous persons, I should say, are always finding ways to get to our children and, I guess mess with their lives and bring some harm to them. So what are some of the things that parents should be aware of as their children are home and they're on their devices and so on?
Sure, definitely. And during this July-August vacation, kids might utilize the time not to go out and enjoy the very hot sun and hot weather that we've been having, but instead stay inside the air condition and probably be behind a screen, right? So, you have to be aware of the ills of, using your devices for longer periods than you would. I have some tips, which, I can share with you guys, just to be safe. And this applies both to parents and, the kids as well.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we might be using our devices. And by devices, I mean your cell phone, your tablets, your laptops. And you might get a pop-up saying, hey, it's time to update software. But we're so busy playing that game that we just click ignore and, don't worry about it. But that's really a bad habit. We have to keep our devices up to date because there are many hackers, many scammers out there trying to gain access to our devices for nefarious reasons. So you definitely want to keep your software updated. And on that note, you want to ensure that you have, antivirus software installed. And that's a given. And there are many free versions available on the World Wide Web to download. And, while we have all of these social media accounts, gaming accounts, emails, and so on, the one way that we gain access to them is by, entering our passwords. So, Kandace, I hope your password is not Kandace123, right?
No, it's not.
Because, that's going to be very easy to figure out. So you want to use strong passwords when and wherever possible. Yeah.
All right.
Many other things that we have to talk about as well. And I can just mention one thing before you ask a question here. Parents need to be aware of credit card payments that might be happening. Sometimes they may lend their device to their kid to play a game, and unbeknownst to them, they may have their credit card stored on their phone, and their child are playing a game, and they keep, buying things in the game, thinking it's within the game, but they're actually making a credit card purchase. And we've had instances reported to CyberSafe where parents received bills up to $20,000 because their credit card is maxed out simply from one game. So it's a real thing, and they have to be very aware of that.
All right. Now, as you mentioned, just tracking back a little bit, as you mentioned, the antivirus software and so on, sometimes when you're on certain websites or whatever, it just even playing games, whatever the case may be, you get some alerts that say, you need to check your computer and should use this antivirus system, whatever the case may be. But how do you know which one of those antivirus systems are actually going to protect your device, or it's an actual virus in itself?
Definitely, that's a really good call there, Kandace. So immediately don't click on those links, right? Because they're not genuine. Most of them, I would say 99.9% of them, are not genuine and will probably lead you to downloading a piece of software which might look like an antivirus. but it might have something called malware installed, and that's where all of the bad software gets into your computer, right? So you would not necessarily want to click on a link after being prompted to install an antivirus. Instead, you visit the website directly. Go to Norton Antivirus, or go to McAfee or AVG, which is a good free antivirus. You visit those websites directly, download it from there, and you'll be protected. The nice thing about all of those examples that I shared, if you actually visit a website that is scammy, as we say, it'll tell you, say, hey, I don't think you should click on these links because you may end up with some problems.
All right. And then in terms of, the VPNs that we have within our space, we don't really think about the added protection that perhaps VPNs and so on may have for our systems. I want you to speak a little bit on that.
Sure thing. So again, we might be traveling. Some of us might be traveling, and it doesn't have to be overseas. It could be, just a staycation, but a hotel or a guest house. And some of these places may have free Wi-Fi. And of course, that's the first thing we ask for, right? I always make a joke, back in the day when we were traveling, you wanted to know if there was air conditioning and hot water. Now all the kids want to know is whether or not there's free Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's connected to the free Wi-Fi, but we really don't know what information might be captured or saved in that free Wi-Fi particular scenario. So what you've recommended in terms of using a VPN, and there are many free VPN software that you can actually download. NordVPN is one of them, for example. And you turn the VPN on before you connect to the Wi-Fi. And what it does, it creates a virtual private network. That's what VPN stands for. It's essentially a tunnel that protects you from prying eyes. So you can go ahead and, enter information, share pictures, and so on, and actually worry less about that information being compromised. And when you're actually, in these areas, it is highly recommended. You don't do things like online banking, or things that might have the potential, to get you into more trouble. So when on vacation, you can check your social media, look at your emails, and so on. But be very, very guarded, especially if you need to go on online banking. You definitely should, set up your VPN at that point in time, and make sure you're connected to network.
Okay, great. And then what about in terms of some of the information that might be shared online? How should we monitor what our children are even posting, whether it be even in simple like the game chats and so on that are happening?
Nice. So yeah, we're coming down to your social safety on the internet, right? Which is what most people tend to be directed towards. So there are many individuals who pretend to be other folks on the internet with the intention of scamming someone into sharing their private information, and they tend to pry on the younger folks. They reside in online gaming rooms, chat rooms, sorry, and as well as on social media platforms. And they may befriend someone, have a chat with them. They maybe share certain codes to allow them to go faster in the game and so on. And eventually you will realize that, they start asking questions like, so, how is everything at home? And eventually they may get to asking for your address and your phone number and these different types of things. And it could lead to something very, very dark and scary. And the recommendation, is, don't engage in this type of conversation with strangers online. You definitely want to say no to the bullies. I always say stop, block, and tell. If there's someone who is, continuously asking you for information that you think is private and you want to, prevent that from happening, my message to the kids is stop engaging, block them on the platform, and make a report to your parents or an adult so that they can assist you in managing that. And of course, we will be on vacation and we'll be really encouraged to either check into a location, right? You probably would not want to do that while you're actually on vacation. It's often a telltale sign to indicate that, hey, I am not at home. And that also applies to sharing vacation pictures. Particularly, the parents might want to say, well, yes, we're on vacation. I think you're entitled to do so, but delay a little bit. Delay till when you come back to then post those pictures up. So at least, you won't be letting, nefarious eyes know that, hey, no one is at home, the door's open, to come in. So definitely something that you want to be aware of in terms of the timeliness of posting up your vacation pictures.
What are some of the major issues and complaints that you guys have received in terms of, the cyber safety concerns from or cyber breaches, I should say, with children within Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, so recently, we've received a lot of phishing scam emails where individuals are asked to share their passwords and thereby lose access to their accounts. So, from the kids' perspective, they lose access to their work emails, to the school emails, and it's really difficult for them to gain back access to that, right? And then we also have unfortunate incidences of, individuals befriending them or even going to the lengths of cyber grooming. Cyber grooming, of course, is someone pretending to be your friend on the internet, and they eventually ask for certain things such as private pictures, and it is somewhat linked to a form of human trafficking. We might want to think that human trafficking is actually picking up someone physically and moving them from one place to another, but you can actually be trafficked right in your own bedroom, because human trafficking is forcing someone to do something that they don't want to do. Unfortunately, that happens, particularly with teenagers. They may fall prey to a cyber groomer who might befriend them on the internet. And they may have shared, an intimate photo, and that's just the starting point. They will then blackmail that person to saying, "Hey, you need to keep sending these pictures or keep coming online at this time to do X, Y, and Z, or else we're going to expose you." Now, the unfortunate reality of that is, you have private photos shared on the internet. How can you get away from it though? You can tell the protective services, the cybercrime unit. You can make a report to cyber safety even, and there are ways in which you can actually get out of that situation. It may be easy or may be very difficult to track who that particular cyber groomer is, depending on their location. But definitely something that you have to be aware of. This is one of the main reasons why I say parents should not allow laptops and desktops in the bedroom. And if you find that kids are being very secluded in terms of their use of the devices, chances are something might be off. So it's good to pay attention to that. And that's the extreme situations, but it does happen.
Now, is there any way that parents can monitor those activities on those children's devices, perhaps in real time, whether they be in a chat room for a game or just on a social media site? How can parents monitor what's going on?
So there are two ways or two schools of thought on this. So you have the technology approach where you can set up parental controls that could send you the alerts on your phone or email indicating, hey, I think that this particular device, which would be the device that the child is using, might be visiting an inappropriate website or might be doing something inappropriate. And inappropriate, they will flag based on the content that is shared, the type of words that's typed, and so on. And they do work on from time to time. But we've also seen that kids have been able to circumvent some of those parental controls. So that's the technology way of getting things done. I would recommend it for the younger folks, before they've reached the teenage years. And once you've had that habit inculcated, hopefully it will not come into the teenage years. But probably the best advice is ensure that they don't use these devices in a secluded area on a regular basis. If you've noticed as a parent, then it's a red flag, in my opinion. So maybe not have the device in a secluded area. I know that it might be convenient to have it in the bedroom, but if you have doubts, then definitely it's something to bring into an open space such as the living room or whatever it is, so that you can monitor it, walk by ever so often, and ensure that they're playing the games that they say they're actually playing.
All right. Well, we are unfortunately out of time this morning, but I want to thank you, Mr. Daren Dhoray, founder and director of Cyber Safe TT, for being on with us and giving us some much needed tips as we're going into the July-August vacation. So thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, Kandace. Take care.
You too. All right, viewers. So yes, we're getting ready to wrap the show. But before I wrap the show this morning, I just want to issue a little bit of a correction. This is from our interview with Mr. Asher Jack this morning, the executive chairman of SPEL, and that is to clarify that we're waiting for an export license for SPEL from the Ministry of Trade and in his industry. So just to clarify that little bit of information before we close off. Anyways, I just want to thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and hope you have a safe and wonderful day. And we will see you again tomorrow.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Kandace and Denise. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.